I've betrayed my race because I'm not voting for insert Democrat name here. But what have you seen him do that's actually anti-gay and not pro-everyone freedom?
You could say cunt, like it's nothing on you.
Right.
You say conservative, it's like, oh my God,
Yes.
she said that word. Good morning, babes and babe lovers. I am back. I am in Dallas.
You are in Dallas, Texas.
Who am I here with?
Sarah Gonzalez.
And what do you do?
I have a YouTube channel myself. It's called Sarah Gonzalez Unfiltered. I also host a daily news show on Blaze TV. It's called The News and Why It Matters.
Everybody knows that about 5-6 months ago, I made a viral video about leaving the left. And people always have assumed since I made that video that I actually have gone fully to the right, which is actually not true. I have been hanging out with a lot more conservatives and they've all been very respectful. Everybody that I've been hanging out with is pro-Trump. And I've been learning things here and there. For this video, I felt like it would be cute because a lot of people out there are also politically homeless. I want to know if you can convince me in like 15 minutes or less that, to vote for Trump. Do you think you can do it? You up for the challenge?
I mean, I hope so.
I feel like a lot of people are not on the left or on the right now. They're kind of in the middle like me. I'm like, I would say a libertarian. I'm similar to Dave Rubin, I would think. A lot of people have been calling me the new Dave Rubin, which is like, thank you.
That's awesome.
Let's start off by talking about minorities specifically, because I think most of the people that watch my channel, I mean, technically, I guess I am a minority. I'm LGBT. I'm the L. L is silent these days, but, So what is Trump's stance? Because I know a lot of people give me shit for saying that I even hang out with people that support Trump because they automatically assume that because Trump is considered more conservative, that he's automatically against gay rights or against trans rights. And from what I've seen, he's pro-LGBT.
Yeah.
So what are the facts?
When you talk about against LGBT rights, what you're actually looking at. Because I think a lot of people misconstrue equal treatment with better treatment. I think there are a lot of people in the movement who, if you actually look at what they are advocating for, it's not equality. Allowing someone else to have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, whatever the case may be, you're not disallowing someone else on the other side to not have those freedoms. We can all have those freedoms and coexist. And quite frankly, I personally think it comes down to if someone has a religion that you may disagree with, you think, their religion is discriminatory, whatever the case may be, honestly, what it comes down to for me is like we all have the freedom to be an asshole in this country, right? You can't legislate away being an asshole, being a jerk, being hateful. But like those people will always exist no matter how many laws you put into place. And quite frankly, I would love to know who those people are. I don't want laws to force people
to pretend
that they feel a certain way, especially when it comes to, and I know I'm deviating a little bit, but especially when it comes to, let's say the cake baking case, because that's the famous case that everyone cites, and they say he refused to
create the gay wedding cake.
Right. A lot of people get it wrong.
Which is not true. He would sell
a cake. He just wasn't going to create
a separate
an artistic for something that he religiously was against. So, you take that and it's like, well, wouldn't you rather know who doesn't support your cause so that you can go somewhere else? Like, why would you want to patronize?
That's what I say.
I've never personally understood why you would even want that to happen. Like, I don't want to force people. I don't want the law to make them to just be nice to me and cater to me when in secret they're going off and they're making money off of me. Looking at the facts of what President Trump has done. First of all, I mean, you've got the Defense of Marriage Act with which Joe Biden was for. I mean, he's on record as saying marriage is between a man and a woman.
Right.
So,
and that was when Obama got into office, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, Obama himself had said it his first term. It was his second term that he had some sort of,
2012.
That he had some sort of reawakening. I think if you're even looking just at that, to me, it's at least an even playing field when you're looking at the two contenders that we have for president. You're looking at Joe Biden, who historically has said that marriage is between man and a woman, and you're looking at Donald Trump, who, in my personal opinion, kind of has the angle, a little bit of a better angle on that because he's right? He's a New Yorker.
Yeah.
He was very liberal. He's done nothing in his personal life to make anyone think that he would be against LGBT rights. But what have you seen him do that's actually actually anti-gay and not pro-everyone freedom.
I agree with that. I think a lot of people that are watching this don't understand the difference between the two. If I owned a business, I own my own business, this is my business, I would never want to have somebody that, let's say, is of Muslim faith that thinks and like gay people are crazy, whatever. I wouldn't want to have them on my show. Like, why?
You don't want to give them a platform.
I don't want to give them a platform. So why wouldn't I allow that freedom to somebody else? Like, it has to go both ways. It has to.
Yeah, because if you don't give the freedom to the person whose opinion you disagree with, later on down the road, that will be used against you. That's just the way that it works, right?
Yeah,
it will always be used against you when the wrong person gets into power. It will be used against you. It will be turned around against you at some point in time. That being said, you have to look at it as someone else having the freedom to do something doesn't take my freedom to do something away. It's not anti-gay. I hear that all the time. Donald Trump is anti-LGBT. You know, the fact that Republicans wouldn't sign on to the Equality Act is anti-LGBT. And it's like, it's not anti-LGBT. It's pro-freedom and pro-individualism and pro-really religious freedom when it comes down to it. I think that people often lose sight of that because we're so immersed in this identity politics game that we play. That's the only thing that people see is, well, he's not signing on to the 110% of the LGBT agenda, therefore he's anti-gay. And there's so much more to it than that I wish that people would consider, which is, as you said, these freedoms are everyone's freedoms. And if you think for 1 second that taking away someone else's freedom will not be turned around and used against you at some point in time, you're sorely mistaken. Legitimate question. I would love to know in the comments, what has he done specifically that is anti-gay? Not leveling the playing field, not pro-freedom of all religion, but what specifically is anti-gay, because the rhetoric that I hear from the left makes it sound like Donald Trump is out there like executing LGBT people, right? I mean, that's really the vibe that you get from people that you hear on the left, and it's like, no, actually, that still happens in some countries.
Right, exactly.
We live in the greatest country in the world, America, and we don't do that here.
Okay, what about people that say that Trump is a white supremacist? I've even been called a white supremacist for hanging out with people that are black, by the way, that are Trump supporters.
If he is a white supremacist, he is quite frankly the worst white supremacist in the history of the world, because I don't know a white supremacist who would make sure that his policies resulted in record low unemployment of blacks, record low unemployment of Hispanics, Latinos, record low unemployment for women, just record low unemployment for everyone. He's putting people back to work. I mean, those are the numbers, right?
Yeah.
They don't lie. Those are the numbers. Those are the statistics. I don't know of a white supremacist who would want
that much about bettering these
who would want to make sure that all of these people are working and trying to feed their families. I mean, you have to consider when you are a minority and you're voting Democrat, or you're voting for the left. What are you doing to better your own environment, to better your own situation?
What have they done?
I would love to know. I would love to know because it's only getting it's getting worse as far as violent crimes go. You know, in Chicago, all of these Democrat-run cities. It's always the Democrat-run cities. You've got Chicago, you've got Baltimore.
And I started to see that once I moved from part-time from Florida to New York, and I moved back. I'm seeing drastic difference between Florida and Florida is much more of a. I mean, New York State is red, but New York City is very blue. It's a shit show in New York.
Yes.
It's been like that for months.
Well, and you see that, and I think the average person who forgets how our system works, how our country works, will go, well, it must be it's the top guy in charge. And it's like, no, your local officials affect your life way more than anyone who's president can affect your life. And you guys have been voting Democrat for decades.
For decades, yeah.
And what has it brought you?
It's always, New York has always been a Democratic-run city for as long as I've been alive, I feel like.
Let's say you don't want to take responsibility for yourself. You think that you are just a victim of your own circumstances. Who brought you those circumstances? It wasn't the president of the United States. I don't care who it was. If it's your city and your neighborhood, but not the state down the street. That's not the president of the United States of America. That is your local government. Yeah. And if you keep voting Democrat decades after decades after decades, and you keep getting the same horrible results, I don't know how you could come to the conclusion that it's somehow conservatives' fault.
Why do you think, because this is one thing that I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this, and myself included, why do you think conservatives have always had a bad rep regarding the LGBT community, and like Democrats have always been seen as the saviors, so to speak, you know? When it's funny because, like you said, like Obama, like there's so many people before that were Democrats that were not, you know, they were considered progressive at the time, but were not actually pro-LGBT, right? Or pro-woman.
I do think it's the religious aspect. I think anytime anyone on the left sees someone with any sort of religious aspect to it, they dismiss it. I think a lot of it too is, I mean, I can't put my finger on why, but there just so happens to be this double standard with the left that they can get away with saying whatever they want, even when
they're still gonna vote Democrat.
Even when
Biden literally said, "You ain't black
unless you vote Democrat."
Oh my God!
I mean, it's racist
me,
as hell.
If you said to any LGBT person, if you don't think this way, you're not gay. Literally, that's homophobia. If you don't think this way, then you're not a woman. That's sexism.
Absolutely.
How is that not a racist statement? But he got away with it.
He did get away with it. Imagine for a second, if you will, if Donald Trump had come out and said that. Trade roles. He mentions a black friend that he has, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's racist. He said he has a black friend."
I was raised, I guess, as a Democrat. I was raised to think that Democrats are pro-poor people and Republicans are pro-rich people.
Yeah. So then explain to me how the Democrat-run cities continue being poor. Right, they're impoverished. They've got their people running around because they're dependent.
Of that. I'm getting into politics for the first time, and a lot of people that watch me are like, okay, like they're learning with me. So these types of conversations, you know, are super important, especially since we have 3 months till the election.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
I feel like they're lumping us all together, assuming that we're not individual thinkers. When I came out again as somebody that thinks for themselves, specifically, you know, as a lesbian woman, whatever, I was getting more praise just for the fact that I was thinking for myself from everyone else other than the left. The left has become, you know, a hive mind, a cult. What do you have to say to that? Like, you know, Democratic versus conservative candidates and stuff like that.
Yeah, I get that all the time myself personally, just because I am a person, you know, who is Hispanic. I get that all the time. I mean, I can't even tell you.
Assume that you're going to vote for
they tell me I have betrayed my race.
You lose your race card. Right?
Yeah,
right.
It's not even Joe Biden. It's anyone, right? The fact that I would vote for Donald Trump, the fact that I would stray from the left, is not acceptable to them. And honestly, I can't think of anything more insulting than to treat someone not as an individual, but just as a group, right? A subset of people. Yeah,
I can't get behind that anymore. And I think a lot of people watching me understand that too, because I see your likes and comments, even though you won't admit it publicly. It's so true.
Yeah.
They know, yeah.
Yeah, no, so, you know, you have all of these people on the left who, they just take your vote for granted. They think, well, you're LGBT, you're a lesbian, you're gonna vote for Joe Biden. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
We've already branded Donald Trump as anti-gay, so you have to vote for Joe Biden.
But that's why I want to know the truth.
Right, and by the way, honestly, like as a Latina woman, I'm not looking for the candidate who wants to give me the most stuff as a Latina or as a woman or as anything else that I may be a member of, you know, whatever subset group that is. I don't want that from them, right? Like, I want them to treat me as an individual. I don't understand why anyone wouldn't want. I am an individual. I want there to be a level playing field so that if I go out there and I'm a good person and I work hard and I do the right thing, I can succeed in this society. Right.
I feel like conservatives at this point have been so much more open. And you would never think that because they're conservative, just the wording. Progressives actually they've become the conservatives like that we're thinking about in the 80s and 90s.
That you think are intolerant,
that's how
bigoted. That is the new left. That is the new left.
I mean, so
yeah.
Where are you guys at right now? Who are you voting for? Let us know in the comments. I'm not on the fence. I'm teetering.
Okay. Well, can I just really quickly?
Yeah.
This is what sells me. Right. This is what sells me. Donald Trump. He's brash. He doesn't say the right things all the time.
He's an asshole. I even think he knows he's an asshole. Every New Yorker knows they're assholes.
He does know.
We know.
He does know.
Love us anyway.
The Twitter is like, all right. You know, he doesn't tweet.
He loves himself.
He does, and he is not, he's very uncouth at times, but at the end of the day,
it's a $10 word.
You can see like the difference between Do you want a man who has policies that have resulted in actual good results, in lower unemployment, in record economies? Or do you want someone who, honestly, halfway in the grave, his cognitive abilities are not what they used to be, and he seems to be controlled as a puppet by whoever is talking to him at that particular moment? Right.
I think we have to...
And this is coming from someone who did not vote for him in 2016.
Right.
I did not vote for him.
Right.
I was not a fan. He did not have the track record. Now he does. So look at his record, look at his policies, pay less attention to what he says and more attention to the record. Right, the record that he has, and tell me which one is more scary.
I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Let me know who you're voting for. I'm still not going to announce who I'm voting for.
Oh, I thought I had her. I thought I had her.
You have me leaning towards this, though. I mean, I'm definitely not voting for Joe. That is like, that's known.
Yeah.
That's known. Let me know what you guys are voting for in the comments. Make sure you go and check out the Blaze TV episode that I was in. I will have that linked in the description below. And go and check out her channel. I'll also have that linked below. And other than that, I will see you guys back here in a few days with a brand new video. Until then, I love you. Love yourselves. Do your research. Bye.